GG, guys. GG. The United States has officially bombed Iranian nuclear facilities. Oh. Fuck, bro. This is breaking 22 minutes ago. According to Axios, U.S. strikes Iran's nuclear facilities. The United States conducted airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities in Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan on Sunday morning local time, President Trump announced. Trump's decision to intervene directly... Oh my God. What the fuck? Why can't I see Trump's Truth Social? We do this every fucking day, bro. Dude, what? Dude, what? Beans, get out of there. Oh, hold on. My cat is fucking in the closet. Come here, Bean. Oh. Dude, why can't we see Trump's truth? Can anybody else see Trump's truth? Can anybody else see it? We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Thank you for the $10. Now is the time for peace. He has no idea what's coming. Oh, God. Oh, my God, bro. Oh, my God, he just started World War III. He just started World War III, bro. Oh, no. Oh, fuck. Let's see what the replies are going to be. This is so goddamn bad. This is so bad. Yo, I'm telling you right now, like, if I'm never gonna forgive any Trump. Yo, remember when they called me a fearmonger every goddamn day? Oh my God.
Because of these strikes, they could go after softer targets, oil facilities, the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I don't want to speculate while this is happening in real time. So what we're going to want to see next is if there is any degradation on that Fordow nuclear plant. Did the job effectively really take it out? And now President Trump is saying it's gone, but the planes do take
Jack, that's an old
live
post.
Pictures. Now they're safely out of airspace, President Trump said, and he's calling it successful. The next thing will be to see the satellite images and get analysts and especially nuclear analysts that are experts in the nuclear plants. So we'll be looking to the IAEA for reaction. We'll be looking for a lot of different reaction. I'm also right now seeking comments and videos from inside Iran. They do have.
They killed the Ayatollah. They killed the Ayatollah. They killed the fucking Ayatollah.
Some of them that were actually supported by the U.S.
They killed the fucking Ayatollah.
The U.S. State Department does not support regime change in any way, but it has offered support in VPNs. And right now, those are very crucial for the Iranians to get any sort of information out, because most of the internet has been cut most of the time in the last several weeks. So I'm working on my sources. It'll just be late, middle of the night now, possibly early morning. So soon we will be seeing daylight, and we will be seeing possibly some reactions from the Iranians as well as the Israelis. But this is all happening in real time. President Trump saying that nuclear plant, especially Fordow, one of the three that the U.S. hit, is gone. Now we have to know and see as journalists
about to come on
analysts,
TV? When?
And get the information. But that's probably going to take a few minutes because this is breaking news right now.
Let's recap just for a moment, Cornique. President Trump does say that 3 nuclear sites in Iran were attacked. What do we know about the conditions of those sites right now?
Well, Natanz had been hurt before by Israel hitting it hard and taking out the power plant and the backup generators. So just by just getting rid of the power plant that operates Natanz, there could have been potential centrifuges that had been broken, which are key to enriching uranium. Now, Rafael Grossi from the IAEA, the UN watchdog group, had commented on that this week. Also, in terms of Isfahan, it's been unclear how much damage there is, and most nuclear experts were wondering what kind of degradation or what kind of operations would happen at Fordow. Would it be something on the ground and some kind of sabotage by Mossad, for instance?
There's a new Truth post, but Truth ain't
that President Trump might have pulled a bait and switch by saying, I'll decide in 2 weeks, because clearly he decided within 48 hours.
Truth Social ain't loading.
Has there been any response from Iran just yet? Have they even had an opportunity to respond to what's happening?
Just stand by. Let me just check one. It's 3:45 in the morning. I'm just checking my sources. They could be hitting mobile launchers. They're hitting close to Tehran right now, according to somebody I know there, and they are hitting hard, quote unquote. So it's not just
says he's going to address the country at 10 p.m.
bombing of the nuclear plants, but this might be Israeli airstrikes that are also launching in Tehran, because my source says right now they are hitting hard.
So you're saying that the bombardment is continuing as we speak right now?
But not necessarily
the
U.S. at all. President
right
Trump
now.
only said that the bombers went after the nuclear plant.
All right,
Don't forget that Israel is an active kinetic war space and has been bombing Iran daily. So this might be Israeli airstrikes after the U.S. nuclear bombs, and most likely that's Iran hitting, Israel hitting Tehran, Iran, and other areas, not the U.S.
I think every single person who voted for Donald Trump should have to fight in this war. Every single person who voted for Donald Trump should have to fight in this fucking war.
The president had said that he was going to give Iran 2 weeks. What could have happened between when this was said within 48 hours ago and now?
Yep, we bombed Iran.
Nothing happened significantly in terms of casualties. Whether President Trump had used that to bluff is unclear. Usually he says that part out loud, and we're going to have to listen closely to what else he says.
Do we know anything about the reaction of lawmakers right now who pretty much did not want the U.S. to get involved in these kinds of conflicts any longer?
Yes, we're going to have to be gathering that. But again, it's 8:30 on a Saturday night, and this was a surprise attack. So we're going to have to effort more information. It's really President Trump. He's going to be addressing the nation at 10 p.m. about these airstrikes. That's a little over an hour and a half from now, and we'll be learning more then, too.
And as of right now, we don't know about the casualties experienced in that area where 3 strikes were made?
We do not hear about the casualties or the damage or anything that could have happened. It did happen in the middle of the night. It's about 3:45 a.m. in Iran right now.
See how Fox is covering this.
So this would have happened in the middle of the night on a Saturday. It's unlikely, especially with the Israelis' attacks, it's unlikely that this was fully
is
staffed.
to have a ready response package should the Iranians, shall we say, go to sea to do what I just talked about.
Let's see how Fox is covering this.
I would imagine that you might see the next phase of this hitting a lot of different targets in perhaps southern Iran, around Bandar Abbas and some of those other areas where that capability would be launched from to basically cork up the Straits of Hormuz.
Let's show this. We just saw another post from President Trump. He says, I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. Eastern Time at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is an historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world, he says. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you, says the president. Hal, the word historic. How historic is it? The U.S. just struck within Iran proper.
Oh, my God.
I think it's pretty historic. You know, I can tell you that the U.S. has been looking at hitting Iran for a very long time. You got to remember, they took our embassy personnel, to include the Marines at the embassy, hostage back in 1979. And, you know, the U.S. was leaning forward. In fact, it's kind of
words on Truth Social.
Yo, Barron is
so in
19.
More formal addressing the nation.
Barron Trump is 19. Fucking send him to Tehran. Send him to Tehran. No, it's going to be my nephews. It's going to be my nieces. It's going to be my cousins and your cousins and you. Great.
A little bit about where these 3 sites are located. You mentioned Fordo. How close, can you tell me, are these sites to populated areas in Iran?
They're not sitting within like a city population like some of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard were in their private residence when they were hit, when Israel started striking, and they went into civilian neighborhoods because that was the way they were taking out the top leadership of the army and the top leadership of the army and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. This is different. These are plants with locations, and like I said, which would be unlikely to have much staff in the middle of the night on a Saturday after nearly a week and a half of Israeli bombings. It's not the equivalent of bombing a civilian area where, you know, closely, densely populated Tehran, for instance, which has a population of sort of New York City and London approximately combined. It did not happen in city proper. You wouldn't have a nuclear plant there. You'd have it outwards. But
I'm worried about those Russian scientists.
Are going to have to continue waiting for information. This would be, if they get Fordo, this could be an end to Iranian nuclear power plants, because if President Trump is saying they're gone, instead of spinning a centrifuge or downgrading the uranium or killing nuclear scientists like Israel has done, like killing in the past and most recently with the killings of Iranian scientists since this since they launched airstrikes a week ago Wednesday. This is different. This is taking out the whole structure.
First
and
war?
we're going to need people analyzing satellite imagery.
First time in the sandbox, kid. Oh, baby. Young little Gen Alpha is about to experience 2004. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, we're going to war! And we're going to fucking lose! Again! Again! We're gonna lose again, bro! Born too old to go to the sandbox, born too young to go to the sandbox, born right on time to go to the sandbox.
Arabs might react
Oh,
to America,
baby.
Bombing these 3 sites in Iran. Right, Courtney?
People are quite clear about the Iranian regime, the Iranian
Yes, we
nuclear
bombed it,
plant,
bro. We
and the
bombed
Iranian
it. We
people.
bombed it.
And while it's not in
That's
the
it.
U.S. government
Fucking triple the defense budget.
dictate mandate in the State Department for regime change or to back any political actor coming out of the DOD and bombing nuclear plants is something that President Trump will have to explain the thinking and whether it was within the law or not.
Of
This
course
would be a
European countries are
military
going to send troops.
offensive,
Brother,
and
we
we're gonna
are
have
not
to
allowed
hear
to go to
more
war
about
alone.
that.
The United States goes to war with our
We
allies.
don't know
As
if
soon as the
this is
Iranians
just
strike
the
back
one
and start killing
plan
Americans,
and to not
so many
actually
nations
get
are
involved
joining.
anymore and to leave it the Israelis. Again, we're going to have to hear what President Trump has to say about, but we should be looking for that.
And are we hearing anything about the military themselves, any injuries in that respect?
President Trump said it was a success and that everybody had safely gotten back out of
No
airspace,
shot.
and he did not mention any casualties.
No casualties. So those are the things that people
I'm
watching.
saying he
Go
didn't
ahead.
mention casualties.
He didn't mention any casualties. Okay.
No
all right.
shot.
There's a big difference between what we're hearing from our president or what we hear from our Defense Department, but I can't say that as fact.
Okay. So we're going to I want you to sort of just tell us again what we're experiencing right now. As people are joining us, tell us exactly. Courtney Keeley is joining us on the line right now to tell us what's happening in Iran. America has struck 3 sites. Give us more details, again, for people who are just joining us, what has happened.
President Trump announced on Truth Social not very long ago that, and it was breaking news, that the U.S. had bombed 3 nuclear plants in Iran, most significantly Fordow, which had a big question mark over it, whether the U.S. would use its stealth B-2 bomber with its 30,000-pound bomb to destroy deep down into the embedded structure of that nuclear plant, Fordow, deep into the mountains. Israel, deep into the mountain. Israel does not have that kind of bomb, not that weight, not that depth. The U.S. had moved their bombers today, some of them to Guam. It appears that might have where they started the original stationing. They're often in Minnesota, and they had been somewhere near when the U.S. was firing on the Houthis, but they had been returned to the U.S.
Is it a nuke or a bunker buster? It wasn't a nuke, at least.
It put a big question mark in my mind,
we don't
but
think
Trump
it
had
was a
said he
nuke.
was going to wait 2 weeks.
He didn't say what
when
we dropped. He just said a full
when he
payload of
just did
bombs.
this,
We don't even know what
yesterday,
fucking...
Italy and Germany
This
and
guy's
France
such
were
a
talking
chaotic
about
piece of
some
shit. Get him
kind
the
of
fuck out of the fucking
meetings
Oval
to have
Office.
with the-
This guy is the most unpredictable, dangerous man who has ever been in the White House. He is unironically going to end the fucking world.
It's gone. Now, what the president says, and whether there are casualties or not, or whether it was a complete success, or if there's even a way
Luigi,
to qualify that, will have to be coming out from experts and satellite imagery.
It's fine, Luigi.
They're
They're
going to
jet
have to
skis.
be
They're jet
facts.
skis.
Satellite imagery is going to have to be analyzed, and we're going to have to see what happened. It's
I'm
early
disappointed that you think
morning,
it's the president.
just
What do you mean,
before
disappointed that I
daylight
think
in
it's the president?
Iran,
What do you mean?
And separately, Tehran is under heavy bombardment. I'm hearing reports of really heavy bombs hitting everywhere, quote unquote, was what one Iranian told me right now. So this is the B-2 bombers.
So
President
because of
Trump
Trump,
has
we've
said,
been
have
in the
returned
Middle East for, what,
out
40
of
years?
airspace, and
No,
he's calling
bro.
it successful.
Trump is not the reason we're in the fucking Middle East. Trump is the reason we just joined into this war with Iran.
We will see.
We don't have to support Israel. He didn't have to greenlight Israel's attack on Iran. He didn't have to do this either. He doesn't have to do any of this shit.
People are going to be scrambling to get more information, to listen to what he says, and to figure out what this actually means. In terms of what other nations say, we'll have to look at it. They will speak about it tomorrow. If Prime Minister Netanyahu doesn't say anything tonight, he usually has his cabinet session on Sunday morning, so we'll have to look for that. have to see if Putin says anything. I'm seeing something online, but I cannot confirm that he does not want to engage with Iran.
Let's
We
just say,
have to
are
see if that's
our
true,
politicians
true or
beyond the
not.
president corrupt?
I don't know if
Of course,
Russia
there's multiple
wants to-
politicians who are responsible for this, but Trump is top dog. Trump is the president of the United States. The buck stops with Donald Trump. He is the top dog, bro. He's the commander in chief. Why are you pissed at me for fucking blaming him when this is his goddamn decision?
If Iran retaliates on soft targets and U.S. allies and possible servicemen will be looking to the region, they do not have weapons that have the trajectory to go as far as the U.S., but they certainly have the trajectory within the Strait of Hormuz. And to
How long
close
till
off
Iran
that
retaliates?
waterway,
Guys,
to
it's
close
not
off
about
the-
Iran retaliating. It's the fucking Arab world. Iran has proxy groups. They got Hezbollah, they got Hamas, they got Iraqi Shia militants.
We are just watching
Even
now.
if you fucking got Iran not to fight back, you just started another forever war. You can't win a war against insurgents. We lost in Iraq, we lost in Vietnam, we lost in Laos, we lost in Cambodia, we lost in Afghanistan, we lost in Syria. You can't win a war against insurgents.
With Iran and
The Russians fucking lost that war too. The Russians try it.
Their level of support is. We have to see what Netanyahu says and the IDF claims. So there's a lot of information that's ongoing right now that we'll be waiting for. But right now, President Trump is claiming that he has eliminated, taken out, and the Natanz power plant is gone. And that's an offensive move by the U.S.
Of course he did it without
It's not
approval from
necessarily a
Congress. He
declaration
thinks he's
of
a
war,
fucking king.
but it's a bombing another country.
Yeah, there's already
an
pictures of it
offensive
coming out.
move that was very unclear if he would do it or not, and now he has.
That's very interesting that you mentioned those European countries, because the relationship with our typical allies has been so rocky for the past few months. So it will definitely be interesting to see how these other nations respond to this attack. Let's take a look at the history of how this came to be at this moment in terms of the situation with Israel and Iran. Talk about that a little bit, Courtney, and how we got involved at this point.
Well, we'll go back to 1979 with the Islamic Revolution. The U.S. had been a great supporter of the Shah, and the Shah was deposed. And what took the Shah's place was an Islamist
Yes, he bombed the nuclear
organization
sites. The
group
radiation levels are going to
that
start fucking
believes that
spiking, bro.
the
Do you
12
guys
imams
understand what happens when you bomb enriched uranium? It vaporizes. There is now going to be enriched uranium.
Iran needs to be in the hands of fundamentalists, people that were.
There's now going to be enriched uranium
sorts of
vapors
culture that
leaking
fund extremists.
out of the nuclear facilities and into the sky and into the air.
Sorts of ways that people could not have any human rights in Iran. Also, Iran saw Israel as an enemy and the U.S. as an enemy, especially with the U.S. getting involved in places like Beirut during the Lebanese Civil War. There was the U.S. Marines barracks bombings, there was the U.S. Embassy bombings, and the annex bombings. Iran had basically stood up proxy militias trained in the Bekaa Valley of
I gotta get my
Lebanon
water.
to base themselves in southern Lebanon and fight Israel. And that would be Hezbollah. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, after what's been happening in Gaza, last October, he ran roughshod over Lebanon and pretty much diluted and got rid of and decapitated the leadership of Hassan Nasrallah, who died in an airstrike, which pretty much took all the power away from Hezbollah, so that doesn't menace Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu is intent on not really having a ceasefire Hamas until he can say that every Hamas member is dead. And while there are question marks about that, he has taken Hamas and it basically neutralized Hamas. So these were issues that were kept up in America in the 80s, and Iran bombing in Buenos Aires, and Israeli tourists in Bulgaria, and regional wars popping up every now and then. But it's never really happened between...
Doesn't matter if Congress will declare war. Donald fucking Trump doesn't give a shit about Congress. Doesn't give a shit about law. Donald Trump thinks he's a fucking king. He does not care about congressional approval.
1979, the mullahs taking over and saying that the U.S. is the great Satan. and then the U.S. getting involved and Iran striking back with terrorist attacks. So there is history here.
At this point. What is the U.S.'s military presence in the Middle East as it stands at this hour?
Well, right now we have a fairly significant flotilla, if you will, a fleet of cruisers and other ships that are in the Eastern Mediterranean. Their job primarily is to provide air defense reinforcement for Israel. And so that's where they're at. And potentially some air defense for some other things in that region. But primarily there.
Like, I can't get over the fact that my entire fucking life, there's been a goddamn fucking war in the Middle East. My entire fucking life, we've had U.S. soldiers in the fucking Middle East. It just never ends. It just never fucking ends. It's gonna be my dad. It's gonna be your dad. It's gonna be you, your son, your grandson. Oh, we love the fucking sandbox. We love to play in the fucking sandbox. Am Israel Kai. Gotta fucking go and fight against the goddamn Arabs because Israel needs to be fucking defended. It's always about fucking protecting the largest base in the fucking Middle East.
Capability not just in the Middle East, but also stretched out to reinforce whatever has to be done with various other locations that might be used in concert with this. So a lot of aero refueling capability, and that's something where the U.S. is kind of exceptional in the world, is our ability to do in-flight refueling. We have a capability that just no other country comes close to.
We're the only nation in the world that can do in-flight refueling.
We have all of that out there. We have all
Time and place, you laminated face piece of shit. I don't give a fuck about how cool it is, because it is cool. But it's not the time or the place. It's cool as fuck when those planes refuel in the air. It's fucking awesome. But this is not the time.
in those countries where
The Ayatollah is not dead. The Israelis claim he's dead. So I don't fucking know what to tell you. The Israelis claim he's dead.
has gone that direction before. Don't forget that they did attack Al-Assad Air Base with ballistic missiles some years ago. So that's a real threat. And, we've got bases up and down the Arab Gulf or the Persian Gulf. So that's a big concern. So that's kind of what, we have in the area. It's a lot of troops. General Kurilla is his nickname is the Gorilla. Wasn't really a clever nickname. It's just Kurilla and Gorilla actually rhyme. But
No shit,
but he
fucknut.
is the combatant commander there, very capable. He has definitely taken a lead on this, from what I gather. He is a focus of effort, and he has a lot of forces at his disposal. And one of the things that, one of those carrier task forces was actually pulled out of the Indo-Pacific. That's a very important region, for the U.S. strategically speaking. So it gives you an idea of just how much resources, or how big the resources are that are being put under his command while this thing is underway.
What are you going to be listening for
Where are the
whenever we
sources of the
eventually hear
Ayatollah being
from
dead?
Israeli
CNN.
officials? What are you going to be listening for from Benjamin Netanyahu eventually?
I'm going to be listening for whatever he says. I'm actually kind of curious where he thinks this thing's going, where he thinks the U.S. involvement is. I'm going to be curious to hear if somewhere in his discussion he's presuming that the U.S. is going to take a greater role in striking Iran. I'll be listening to that very closely, and then of course I'll be listening to whatever President Trump says in regards to that as well. Whether we're taking a bigger role, that goes to our intent that I talked about earlier. But it also goes to
Dead ass, bro. I
assumptions-
bet you Trump is fucking playing around the back nine at Trump Golf Course in Westchester right now. I bet you that fat orange fucking draft dodging coward is fucking popping a Sudafed and grabbing some fucking waitress's tit. Meanwhile, all of our boys are getting ready to why do you think they were giving our boys lobster in the Middle East? Why do you think we got fucking 18 battleships in the fucking water ready to go?
That'll be interesting to see where that goes. You know, part of the problem that Iran
You're always right,
has,
Chris. I know, and I don't want to be. I'm starting to think that I'm fucking willing this shit into existence, or I'm a goddamn messiah.
this thing could spell the end of the current Iranian regime, just like Hamas has been negotiating for what is essentially the end of
Now,
Hamas.
real quick, before we go even further into this, hi, how are you? I'm Chris Valenti. I'm a douchebag from New York. I majored in history. I minored in political science. I really want to start a family, but I fucking hate fascists, and my nation is in the middle of a fascist takeover. So, if you want to help support the channel, all you got to do is like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you fucking nothing. However, if you do want to support this channel financially, because this is real independent media, this is what it looks like, some fucking douchebag in the corner of his apartment with a fucking cat next to him. If you want to support the channel, all you got to do is become a member for $5. You could become a patron for $5. You could buy merch, and you could just straight up donate to the channel. Other than that, thank you very much for being here. I love you very much. I'm going to hold you by the fucking pubes during this, okay? We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
Israelis didn't know this was happening. Okay, first off, they have to know because they have to deconflict.
Be honest, funny pasta man. Are we cooked? We're not cooked. I will fight. I will go. Okay, we are not cooked. I will handle this. All right, we're gonna be fine. He has presidential war powers, correct? No Congress is needed for that. Yes, he does not need congressional approval to do this because of fucking war powers. He's got like 60 days of doing whatever the fuck he wants now.
Accidentally started to engage our bombers. So absolutely, I can't imagine any scenario where we didn't coordinate this with the Israelis to make sure that this mission could be done. And certainly with the Israelis basically asking us over and over again to do this, it just doesn't seem conceivable that we would not have coordinated this with the Israelis the whole way. And I'm sure that we've coordinated much more than just this particular mission.
Russia and China both back Iran.
That there's more that's being discussed, and there are contingency plans.
Listen, guys, every dollar that is donated will go directly to me arming myself and getting a plane ticket, going to Iran, and resolving this. It'll be like that meme. I'll have like one hand on Trump and one hand on the Ayatollah, and my fucking dick pressed against Netanyahu, and I'll be like, guys, cut the shit. There's no point.
Before all of this started, how important these F-14s are to Iran, Hal. But now I'm sitting here wondering if the Israelis were taking out some fighter jets in anticipation of what the U.S.
I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the reason why.
I fight so my son doesn't have to.
You know when they started saying that? Fucking 40,000 years ago.
I go to war so my son doesn't have to.
They basically.
What loadout are you bringing to Iran? I'm going with a DSR, baby. I need a DSR with extended mags, M93 Raffica Akimbo, sleight of hand, martyrdom, and scavenger.
Then really eliminating a capability. The F-14
scavenger for show, yo. Scavenger for show. Yeah,
I don't think the pilots are really that good at flying.
Yo, I'm aged out of the draft, boys. I'm aged out of the draft. I'm gonna be volunteering. I'm gonna be witches. You're gonna be like, Valenti, what are you doing here? And I'm gonna be like, if anyone's gonna die, it ain't gonna be you, kid. Let me have this. Give this to me. Let me have this.
They're not a particularly capable bird in the modern air environment, but eliminating them as
swear to God, gang, if you see me during the Battle of Tehran, if you see me and you recognize me and I'm chiefing a ciggy and I'm sitting on my helmet and I'm looking badass as fuck, come right up to me and say, hey, Valent, weren't you the one who said this was going to happen? I'm going to go, you know it. Oh, God.
Yeah, militarily speaking. So,
bro, I'm literally pack-a-punching my shit before I go. I am pack-a-punching my shit before I'm out of there.
The other thing that potentially, the U.S. and or Israel could do is basically
I play the saxophone, bro. It's gonna be like real quiet before they blow the fucking whistle in Tehran. And then you're going to see me pop up in a Sasquatch costume going, and then I'm going to get sniped, and you're all going to go, no! It's going to be so sick.
Suddenly, Iran doesn't really have a military to respond to anything else.
Bro,
happening.
Resmi, I have a ray gun? Bro,
And
I have a
so,
ray gun right there,
I think
dog.
it sends
Fuck out of here.
a message to
Of course I'm
to
covering Trump's
Iran,
speech,
to
bro.
the leadership of Iran. Obviously, it makes for some pretty spectacular video, as you see here. But yeah,
Check the new
as far
Truth
as the
Social. It
capability
doesn't
goes,
load, bro. It doesn't
I don't
load.
know how many of those
I'll try
F-14s
again.
were really ready to fly at any given time, not particularly a big threat. You know, not certainly.
It's finally loading.
One time they were a great air superiority fighter, but that was a very, very long time ago. That was back in the 1980s. And those things have been getting pushed out of service. They were kind of replaced
What a
by the
fucking
F-18.
dumb piece of shit. That's what he's got? Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh my god, bro.
This mission.
I don't know if any B-2 bombers went to Guam. That's the question I have. As you know, I spent quite a bit of time in Guam, and I've spent some time at Anderson Air Force Base where the B-2s are kept there. And frankly, I would be sitting up there staring at the sky trying to find out if B-2s actually landed in Guam. I would not be surprised. And I got to tell you, part of this was when they made the announcement that the B-2s were going to Guam, I scratched my head and go, why would you publicly say your B-2 bombers are being deployed? You know, maybe it's some brinksmanship, gamesmanship. But
Bro, Trump probably said the B-2 bombers were on their way to Guam because he thought that a whole bunch of Iranian military leaders would see that and be like, oh, okay, so we got a couple of days. And, like, as they're reading that tweet, fucking bunker busters came barreling through the fucking ceiling, shitted on him. Like, I actually think Trump just, like, was, like, when he said 2 weeks, I think he was just lying. When Trump said you got 2 weeks, I think he was trying to give them a false sense of security. I think that's what he was doing.
So it did seem kind of odd that this big announcement was being made. But, you know, it's like, well, we'll forward deploy them, even though they're being forward deployed to a place where they're not really that much closer than where they are now, as maybe making a statement to the Iranians. On the other hand, what we're seeing is probably we said we're sending them to Guam, and they actually were going a completely different direction. You know, you can't really hide the fact, you know, that the B-2s are being launched.
No new wars, by the way.
Can
Peaceful dove, by the way. You know
easily
what? You know what
pick
it's
up
time
the
for?
fact that the B-2s are being launched.
You guys know what it's time for?
That's tough to hide. However, once they're in the air and they're flying, that's where it gets a
It's
little
time for our
bit
favorite clip.
more difficult
It's time
to
for
figure
our
out where
favorite
they're
clip.
going. I mean, first off, they're stealth, so you know it's very difficult to pick them up on radar. But I as far as I know, well, I should say this: I don't know if any B-2s landed at Guam, and if they did, it may have just been a token force and maybe a couple of B-2s just to.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Doland. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Maybe solidify the impression we were sending B-2s to Guam, but the reality, of course, as we know now, they went a completely different direction.
Hal, we are awaiting President Trump's remarks. Let's just reset for everybody who may just be tuning in. The latest here is that the United States has struck Iran. 3 different sites.
Yo, guys, let's
have
get
been
some
struck.
spam in the chat real quick. I almost said the chat. Guys, if you didn't vote for this shit, put your fucking hand up. If you did not vote for World War III, put your fucking hand up. Because I did not fucking vote for World War III. I didn't vote for World War III. What the fuck, dog? What the actual fucking shit is this, dude? What in the Duke water piece of shit, scum fucking ass backwards fucking Hickville, land of fucking Christian zealot, evangelical, rapture-obsessed, anime-tweaked fucking losers? What the fuck is going on, bro? Oh, this is the only way for Jesus Christ to come back. Why don't you fucking blow me? Why don't you fucking blow me? You will, like, oh my God.
Carry the best chance of destroying the heavily fortified site of Fordo in Iran, and it's very possible that's what was used today. So we are going to continue tracking this for the rest of the night. We are going to be in extended coverage. I will be on the desk here for at least another hour or two, and then Andrew Kraft will be taking over later on in the evening. So we are going to be extending our coverage tonight as we continue to track developments
be the first
out of the Middle East.
Where we break
we also expect that President Trump will be giving
there. This may be the first stream ever where we break 1,000 viewers live. That's the thing about this fucking field. America has a bad day, and I have a good business day. It's a fucked business model. But, like, dude, I'm the goddamn canary in the fucking coal mine. How long have I been telling you people that King Doland is gonna start a fucking war? How long have I been saying this guy's an authoritarian dictator? Brothers, the left, like, oh my God, don't fucking mix it up. Liberals are not your friend, but the leftists, such as myself, the socialists, have been screaming this shit from the fucking mountaintops, bro. Just come home, brother.
For days, and as you know, as we had discussed on the air, and one of the things was that it was within 2 weeks. It wasn't 2 weeks. There was
we got 1,000 viewers. Thank you very much, guys.
That was
1,000
the
viewers.
intent, was for the Iranians
First time
to
breaking
believe,
it.
oh, we got a 2-week reprieve here, and I don't think we wanted to disabuse them of that. But the exact language was,
guys, don't forget
within
to
2
send me
weeks.
your money so I can launder it into the fucking DNC fund. The more money I get, I'm going to spend every last dollar on transing the youth and spreading Marxist-Leninist propaganda. Thank you for the $50 donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much,
basically,
Rush.
Achieve operational surprise. And I think that was, from everything I'm seeing now, that was achieved. That there was
exactly
definitely
going on right now.
operational
Trump just
surprise
bombed the nuclear facilities all around Iran, not just Fordo. Trump used the bunker busters, we're assuming, because he won't fucking tell us what he used. But we bombed 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. Dude, I need to see the IAEA's report on radiation levels in Iran fucking immediately. I need to see that.
negotiate some sort of way to avoid what has just happened. And of course, for him and his delegation, what they were negotiating is gone. There's nothing more for them to negotiate.
Looking out the window, bro, dude, I live pretty close to West
Iran
Point. There's always so much fucking air traffic. There's planes, there's
they're going to have
jets,
to make
there's
some decisions,
helicopters,
but
there's fucking drones.
But the biggest card they had to play is now been taken off the table, and so they're stuck. And I think
for the $20 donation,
that taking out the F-14s along with taking out those nuclear sites was kind of the icing on the cake there to basically tell Iran, you just don't have any ability, to do some of the things that you want to do. So they're going to have to rely on their drones and ballistic missiles, and I'm sure there's some contingency in mind.
Get ready for some false flag event in the United States mainland. Some sort of false flag event is fucking imminent. Some sort of fake-ass Iranian sleeper cell agent attack in order to manufacture even more consent for this shit.
Table as well.
Hearing from Axios's Barak Ravid on social media, I'm reading this. This just was put out a minute ago. He's a reporter with Axios. He follows the Middle East very closely, gets a lot of scoops.
Of course the UK is going to join.
Ravid says President Trump tells him in a phone call that they had great success tonight and your Israel is much safer now. That's something we haven't talked about yet, Hal. This ultimately, I've had so many conversations with you and many of our analysts over the weeks about the idea A lot of Americans ask me, well, is the U.S. mainland safe? And I ask that questions to people like yourself.
See?
The response I've been getting over the weeks is largely, well, the concern is mostly a regional concern in the Middle East. The U.S. mainland isn't the primary concern. So let's talk about Israel. Ravid says what Trump told him is your Israel is much safer now. How much safer is Israel?
Well, I think certainly Iran could try and surge ballistic missile launches. Now, a couple of things. They've been launching drones. They have had abysmal success with, Iran has had abysmal success using drones. 99 point whatever % of the drones have been intercepted, and they just largely haven't done anything. And the ability to stop these drones from coming in, which I find really fascinating when you look at it. Drones, of course, the big threat. We've seen what drones have done elsewhere in the world. We see what drones are doing, certainly up in Ukraine, but we've seen elsewhere where drones have played. They have largely not been an issue as far as Iran attacking Israel. And I find that interesting. Now, the ballistic
I wouldn't
missiles
be
is a
fucking
different
flying
story.
now if I was you.
And some of the ballistic missiles that Iran has been employing are more capable than some they've used in the past. And some of them are, quote, hypersonic, which I find a little bit hyperbolic in terms of how the term is sometimes used.
Again, time and place, you old fuck. Somebody says, how do you feel about the Golden Dome now? The Golden Dome is still fucking stupid because it implies that we don't have anti-missile defense systems already in place. And on top of that, for what they were painting the Golden Dome to be, Trump claimed it would cost $145 billion. Bullshit. For what you want the Golden Dome to be, that is trillions of dollars you would need in order to do that.
Southern Lebanon with Hezbollah, that was mostly the Iron Dome that is very famous, that was being used. But when you start to talk about some of the higher level threats, you're talking about David's Sling. The U.S. has a THAAD missile battery, which is a theater high altitude air defense system that is actually in Israel to help them defend against those. Those are very capable.
This dude is delusional. Brother, you're going to be fucking saying that while you're on the truck heading into the Battle of Tehran going, that Chris Folletti dude is such a fearmonger. You're going to be literally under machine gun fire going, this isn't real. Chris Folletti's always lying. You fucking boot-licking chud.
Missiles, and some of them get through. And many, with the system, it identifies where it is. It tries to figure out where it's going. And then they make a targeting decision, which is, do we launch a missile to intercept that incoming ballistic missile? And if it's going into some empty farm field and stuff, well, then there's probably not a lot of reason to waste an air defense missile doing it. But in some cases, these missiles have
Any predictions on what Trump is going to say? Yes, I think Trump is going to pull a George W. Bush, and he is going to claim victory tonight. I firmly believe, mark my words, that in about an hour, less than an hour, Trump is going to come out and claim victory, which will, if he does, it will be the biggest mistake he could possibly make. Because this is not a war you can win. You cannot win a war against insurgents. And you just activated every single enemy of the American world. You just activated Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, Shia and Sunni Iraqi militants. You just turned the entire Arab world against the United States in the blink of a fucking eye.
Southern Iran, that's actually where there will be an interesting discussion between the U.S. and Israel, because the U.S. actually has the forces in place to address those launchers and those ballistic missiles.
Yes, we bombed them, bro. We bombed them.
Than the Israeli Air Force does, simply because of our carrier task forces
Thanks,
that are
Sage.
sitting down there. So,
get some water, you drunk fuck.
But Israel is certainly, based on the behavior of what's reported of Israelis on the streets going about their daily lives, certainly the impression is that within Israel, they think that the threat has diminished. And if you look at the volume of missiles that have been fired from Iran into Israel since the start of this thing, that has dramatically tapered off as well. Whereas they do get hit with missiles.
Sort of waved and gave his normal fist pump, but walked right into the White House without saying a word. And so we will wait to see what he has to say. But this is a massive development because,
Trump's
he had
speech
been
is at 10
signaling
o'clock.
that there was still hope for diplomacy.
Let me change the
which
title of the stream,
obviously
actually, so people
was
know.
not the case.
Reaction from lawmakers on Capitol Hill so far?
Well, it really depends. It's pouring in, so there are, hawks that have been pushing for this sort of response because this is not a new issue. Administrations for decades have been wondering how to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions. Of course, it was a historic deal that the Obama administration brokered years ago, the JCPOA it was known as. But as soon as President Trump came into office, he pulled out of that deal because he said it was not a good one. And so it depends on the lawmakers, but they have been very vocal, some of them, about the need to do something just like this. On the other hand, there are plenty of voices who were warning the president not to become directly involved because of the potential implications.
Again, guys, let me
not
remind you,
only for
what you're watching on your screen right here, this is mainstream media, okay? What you're looking at on your screen now, this is independent media, okay? CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, News Nation, you fucking name it, they are getting tens of millions of dollars of funding from Big Pharma, from Lockheed Martin, from fucking Palantir, from every goddamn organization, and each one will hold and bite their tongue when the time comes and they are told to. I won't. I'm not bought. I've never had funding. I've never done an ad read. I've never had a conversation with a billionaire or a government, okay? So if you do want to support this channel, donate to the channel, become a member, prove to these fucking pieces of shit that we are actually the people. We are Legion. And we're trying to hit 100,000 subs. I just hit 70K recently, so thank you very much if you subscribe. The more that we get, I get that fucking YouTube play button. I'll put it in the back there. That'll help get the message out. But the tide has officially turned. Every single person who supports Donald Trump, every single person who voted for Donald Trump is going to have to make a fucking decision right now. And that decision is going to be, do you support another war in the Middle East or not? That's it, okay? And we need to build numbers. We need people to understand that they are the fucking minority. They are not the fucking majority.
He will share a lot of details about the actual success of the strike, which he has already declared in one of his posts. So we anticipate hearing more details about
fucking
what he
stop
means
gargling a billionaire's fucking cock, you absolute bootlicking cuck. Jesus Christ, I bet when you spit, it tastes like leather.
In an article that said one reason why he hadn't given the green light yet was because he did have some doubts about whether the operation would be fully successful. And our CBS News reporting was that he was briefed on all the pros and the cons about launching an attack on the Fordow nuclear site. But his mindset, his thinking was that he had to do it because he believed that was the only real way to ensure that Iran would not move even closer to having a nuclear weapon. And I just asked about this the other day for clarification on what he meant when he said they were just a few weeks away from having a nuclear weapon. And the press secretary told me that it wasn't just about having enough enriched uranium, which is the main component required to build one of these nuclear bombs. But she said that all it would take was the supreme leader making a decision to move forward, and they could have one within 2 weeks. And that is a very specific timeline. It doesn't exactly align with what the IAEA, which is the agency that monitors nuclear sites around the world, assessed. They said that Iran.
See, we don't even know if this is real, bro. We have no confirmation if this is real.
for many different stakeholders in this conflict to try to determine what the next steps are, because there's so much at stake here.
What do we know about the national security meeting that took place today?
Guys, impeaching Trump won't do anything, bro. Trump has already been impeached twice. You have to remove him from office.
Here around 6 p.m.
We need the 25th Amendment.
And meet with his national security team, which is not out of the ordinary given the tight deadline that he had set for determining whether he was going to do this or not. He had been having frequent national security team meetings since he rushed back from the G7 summit earlier in the week because he said he wanted to monitor the situation in Iran. And so we are trying to
What do you mean impeached twice? Dude, Donald Trump was impeached twice during his first term and refused to step down. He's the only president in American history to be impeached twice. He's also the only president in American history to be impeached and not step down from office. Look, right here. Donald Trump becomes the first U.S. president to be impeached twice, bro. Impeachment is you're supposed to step down when you're impeached. But Donald Trump has no shame. The only way to get Donald Trump out of office is the 25th Amendment. But the 25th Amendment needs every single member of his cabinet to vote to remove him, which is why he surrounded himself with yes men and sycophants like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem and Pete Hegseth and RFK. He needs unanimous, Stephen Miller, every single one of them needs to vote to remove him from office. There is no way to remove him from office.
We wait to see what the response is going to be.
And
you
also
wish you had my ray gun, bro.
From
You
the rest
know
of the
you
world.
wish you had my ray gun.
Europe,
Be
for
so
example.
fucking for real.
Well, Europe just had meetings to try to have a diplomatic end to all of this. And
go ahead and send it,
the
Nelson.
thing is that the U.S. was not directly involved with those. And so the Europeans really were trying to, insert some kind of diplomacy and try to convince the Iranians to really come to the table.
That's the official Call of Duty, Reagan. I got it from the website.
US to discuss getting out of the
How,
conflict.
Jack isn't here? Oh,
but
no
the
idea
Iranians
then.
made
I'm
very
sorry.
clear that they would not
do
engage
you
in
power to
direct
do
talks
that?
with the U.S. unless there was a ceasefire, unless
I'll work on it,
Israel,
Nelson. Sorry.
stopped bombing, stopped the attacks, and vice versa, obviously, because they said they wouldn't negotiate during an active war. But when I asked the White House about that, they dodged the question. They didn't say that that is something that the president was calling for. And in fact, he himself said that it's not something that he wanted because he thought,
bro, all of these fucking chuds
already
chanting USA as if they're not gonna send their fucking sons to the war. Brother, I think if you're so proud to be an American right now, why don't you go fucking fight against Iran? Why don't you guys go join the fucking war? Why don't you guys do it?
So many questions that need to be answered tonight. In less than an hour, the president will be speaking at 10 p.m., as you mentioned. And we are awaiting what the president will say. But in the meantime,
for the $2.
How do you think Democratic lawmakers are going to react to this news?
So we are gathering all of the reaction from these lawmakers on both sides, because this is obviously critical. But, I imagine that many of those voices will be saying they warned that something like this could happen, that there could be an escalation in the region. And so, again, we are just waiting to hear from more voices. And because this is just breaking and developing, some lawmakers are still getting read in on this, are still trying to get the latest intelligence on this.
Thank you, Leandre,
of course,
for the
there
$5.
were briefings on the Hill ahead of this. We know that the House Speaker was briefed ahead of the U.S.
What do you want us to sit back and let someone else attack us? Brother, Israel started this war. Iran hasn't attacked us, you stupid fuck. 10 days ago, Israel attacked Iran for no reason whatsoever. And you stupid fucks are going to go, well, Iran was close to having a nuclear weapon. Iran has been 2 weeks from having a nuclear weapon since 1979, you fucking propaganda spoon-fed fucking idiots, bro. Holy shit, you were born and raised on Red Scare propaganda and it fucking worked.
Well, it does and it doesn't. Because there was always some concern that even the announcement of that 2-week window to try to reach a deal was just a head fake to, clear the path essentially for this to happen, because you can't just do this overnight. It takes time, it takes calculation, it takes, it takes the Pentagon and all of the teams that carry this out having the space to be able to do that. And so there was always one school of thinking that perhaps this was just an arbitrary deadline. But on the other hand, we had extensive reporting that there were loud voices and advisors surrounding the president who were, having him really think through.
Will we actually get boots on the ground in Iran? It depends on the response. Iran and their proxies are going to respond to this. Trump is stupid enough to do a full boots on the ground invasion of Iran. He's a fucking idiot.
Unprecedented and quite the gamble as well. Let's talk about the sites that were hit. What do you know about this from covering the White House and these particular sites that were targeted? Weija.
These are Iran's nuclear sites, and so obviously these are where they are developing their
You think Iran should have a nuke? I don't think any nation on earth should have a nuke. Brother, I am a delegate for the United Nations Denuclearization Proliferation Treaty. I was at the fucking United Nations talking to different representatives from different nations about nuclear weapons, and you know what they kept on fucking bringing up? Iran. Over and over again. They're like, oh, well, Iran might have a nuclear weapon. Meanwhile, everybody there goes, well, nobody should have a fucking nuclear weapon. Nobody! Why is this fucking debatable? We're talking about weapons that can shift tectonic plates, bro. Do you guys know what a tactical nuke is? A tactical nuke is 50 kilotons, okay? Do you know what the bomb we dropped on Hiroshima was? 15. So when we're talking about a tactical nuke, which doesn't fucking exist, we're talking about a weapon that would annihilate millions of people in the blink of an eye and then send radioactive fallout to whatever direction the fucking wind decided to blow.
Sites that are so critical to Iran's nuclear program.
And so America has known about these sites for quite some time, and it isn't until Israel and Iran got into their latest conflict that the U.S. Seems as if it decided to do this, right?
These sites have been well known for these. No, to answer your question, these are not new to the United States. The question was always whether the U.S. was going to become directly involved to strike them.
And with the developing situation between Israel and Iran, the U.S.
Yeah, meanwhile, the CEOs of like Palantir, OpenAI, and Meta were just sworn into the fucking United States military as lieutenant colonels in, what is it called? Detachment 201. They're supposed to be the new cyber team. Oh my God, they're going to be fucking reading our goddamn thoughts.
Israel has wanted, but there were, a lot of skeptics who the president was speaking with who said, they should just carry this out alone. We should not get entangled in this for all the reasons that, presidents have to consider when they decide whether to become directly involved with any conflict.
Do we know if there are other sites that have this potential, the nuclear potential? Weija, sorry?
No. So Iran has several sites.
I ain't no fucking liberal, Cole. I'm a socialist.
What started this entire conflict with Israel was Natanz, which was also a very significant site that Israel bombed on Monday. The Fordow is another significant site, and there are several of these. As you saw the president post, he said that the U.S. actually targeted 3 of these sites.
The Lord instructed me to tell you you're a fucking dipshit.
Different components.
Go fucking read your children's storybook, and you don't get to goddamn make laws over it. You don't get to fucking dictate how I live my fucking life because of the God you believe in, your false Judeo-Christian God. Suck my fucking dick.
Iran's nuclear program for several decades. There was always concern among other administrations.
She looks 100 years old.
House,
good. Then
if
she can
you
take out the
were to do
dentures and give me
something
gummy
like
cum.
the U.S. just did
I don't
today,
care.
that there would be consequences, and there was always concern about what those consequences are. Those concerns are still very real tonight.
Diplomacy has worked in the past with Iran, has it not? For the U.S. not to wait for diplomacy to work, but it has worked in the past, hasn't it, Rija?
Well, as we just talked about, the Obama administration did broker an Iranian nuclear deal,
which Trump pulled out of,
to have the Iranians abide by a certain set of guidelines that several other countries also signed.
You will regret mocking Jesus Christ, if not now, then in your deathbed. Brother, when we get to the pearly gates, you understand he's going to welcome me in before you, because you unironically support the fucking random bombing of children because they happen to be brown and named Mahmoud.
The president said he gave them 60 days to do that, and then on day 61, that is when the president says that Israel launched the attack on Natanz.
Once again, as people are joining us now, we just want to let them know what has taken place. President Trump announced that strikes have happened on 3 Iran nuclear sites, and that's the breaking news that we are covering right now. We have Weijia Jiang with us live, talking about the very latest developments. Weijia, take us back to how this started within these past few months, how this has escalated between the U.S. and Iran, and with Israel
Are you talking about
with the conflict with Israel and Iran as well. Let's
Kruger, that's the guy with the knife hands, right?
Closely.
Freddy Krueger.
This conflict between these two nations extends back decades, and obviously we can't forget that there is another conflict in the region after Hamas brutally attacked Israel on October 7th of 2023, which led to a conflict in that region. And there was always accusations and concerns that Iran and its proxies were backing Hamas and other terrorist groups that were trying to attack Israel even further. And so, that set the stage for a potential opening for Netanyahu.
Are you fucking out of your mind?
Because there has been conflict with Iran for so long, and there have been other attacks in recent times. And so, the concern is that Israel recently came out and said that they had intelligence that Iran was extremely close to developing a nuclear weapon. And that's why they felt like it was an existential threat to Israel, that they could not wait any longer and they had to attack, which is what prompted that last week.
On the bright side, guys, my Lockheed Martin stock is about to go flying.
In many conflicts. But interestingly, when this unfolded, the White House's first statement was that this was done unilaterally by Israel, and the United States was not involved. That quickly changed, and after Israel's strikes were successful, the president, made public remarks to make it seem like the U.S. may have at least been a partner because they do supply so much aid and weaponry to Israel every year. And so that quickly escalated with this administration and President Trump repeatedly talking about how close Iran is to
really seeing a lot of love thy neighbors
weapon.
by these Christians. Dude, you have to understand that most Christians are fully going to support this war because they unironically think it's going to bring about the rapture. We are talking about anime nerds. Yes, it's the Bible, but we're talking about a group of people who genuinely believe that if Israel does not own Greater Israel, the entirety of the Middle East, the Israelis have to own it in order for Jesus Christ to open up the sky and come down and then strip all the evangelical Christians of their clothing while they get sucked up into the fucking light. Meanwhile, only a handful of the Jews are going to be brought up, and the rest of us non-believers are going to have to fight alongside Jesus Christ and his army of angels against the fucking Antichrist and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for 7 years. That is literally what the evangelical base in this nation believe, bro.
of two of them that flank Israel, Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. That leaves the Houthis, which the U.S. battled for nearly 2 months in Yemen, and the Iran-backed Shia militias in Iraq, which traditionally have attacked U.S. bases, as well as those on the border with Syria. These two do not have necessarily the political wherewithal to enter at the same level that the state of the Islamic Republic of Iran has. But if you're looking abroad, those are whom the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which sits at the head of this axis of resistance, may be looking to.
I'm just going to read you this. We're getting a bit more details about some of the diplomacy leading up to those US strikes. Our partners, CBS News here in America.
Let's see how Fox is covering it.
It should cease to be this paramilitary thing, because we could end up in the same situation as Hezbollah or one of these other groups. So they've already had a dialogue on maybe they become a political thing. And then you get to the Houthis, and the Houthis is a different thing where I don't know what's going to happen. They're very entrenched, but they would be starved of weapons and any support from Iran. I don't know. Right now we have some sort of agreement with them not to target U.S. ships, and they're really not targeting Western ships that to any degree.
Every single one of our ships in the region
but it
is
may
about to
be
get
enough
fucking
that
attacked.
the Houthi threat.
Every single one of our ships in the region is about to get fucking attacked.
It prevents him from being indicted or from being convicted at this point, because it puts Israel essentially in another state of war, and they can't be distracted from that. But there is a significant amount of satisfaction in Israel with the way this has been conducted. The question now,
of course, we got maggots in the chat, bro. They're all celebrating this
to retaliate
bombing
against forces in the region. That source telling me he predicts that there will be a ceasefire and that Iran will come to the table.
Quick reminder: if you still support Donald Trump, you are an inferior person. You need to understand that. This is not hyperbole. If you still support Donald Trump, you are less than. You are an inferior being. I think you are less than. I need you to understand that. I'm not being facetious.
Recreate any sort of nuclear capacity in the future. A lot of those scientists have also been assassinated in the process. So this person is very satisfied, but the question is, where do they go from here, and what kind of retaliation are we seeing?
Matt Gutman for us. Let's go back to Ian Panel in Tel Aviv there. And Ian, you're getting some new information. We know this pressure campaign was happening from the Israelis to the White House to get involved. What more are you learning?
Did you call me Hassan Piker?
Yeah, well, we're certainly learning.
Did you think that was going to hurt my feelings? Because that quite literally just made my night. Thank you.
The political and security cabinet convened here. This was hours before the U.S. strike on Iran in an underground bunker. It's not clear if they are still there, whether they were watching these events.
Cole, go back to licking Trump's boot.
But it looks like, given the president's comments, and we know from Mary Bruce and others that Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke to President Trump before these attacks took place, that there seems to have been close coordination. Again, Steve Ganyard mentioned the Israeli resources on the ground. Not just aircraft, but they've got drones over the skies of Iran. We're also hearing from Iranian military officials and local officials in those areas also confirming that there were explosions in those key sites in Natanz, in Isfahan. But they're also saying, certainly Iranian TV is reporting, that the uranium stockpile had been...
Anti-Semitic chat. No, I'm sorry, Grandma. You think that anybody who criticizes Israel is anti-Semitic. There is a stark difference between Jewish people and the Israeli government. We fucking hate the genocidal maniac in charge of the Israeli government named Benjamin Netanyahu. He's a wanted war criminal with an ICJ warrant for his fucking arrest.
2 weeks for him to make a decision, but that decision came down tonight, and he says it was decisive. We are waiting to see more reaction from Iran and from Washington and from Israel. The skies above Tel Aviv so far have been quiet, but we are waiting to see how this all plays out. ABC News will have continuing coverage throughout the evening. Here we'll come back. President Trump will be speaking later tonight at 10 p.m. to address the American people. We'll be right back.
Whenever, wherever news.
Oh, Jesus Christ, guys. So Everything that I've predicted is coming to fruition. Donald Trump is starting a war in the Middle East. Donald Trump is creating World War III. Donald Trump is sending troops over into to fight against protesters. He's federalizing the National Guard. He's threatening to deploy the Insurrection Act. He's saying there's going to be fucking Iranian sleeper cell attacks. Everything I have told you has come true. It is time for you to start understanding that I'm not a genius. I just study history. And history rhymes. It doesn't repeat itself, but it fucking rhymes. And what you are seeing right now is the very, very equivalent of exactly what Germany went through in 1938 with the invasion of Poland leading into World War II. If you ever wanted to know what would happen if America had sided with Germany, look around. This is what it looks like. If America had sided with Germany, this is the modern equivalent, because as we all know, Israel is the only nation on planet Earth that perfectly resembles Nazi Germany. Thank you for the $50, Lenora. Israel perfectly resembles Nazi Germany. They are an apartheid regime. They are an ethno-state. They believe they are God's chosen people. They believe they have the right to ethnically cleanse the people around them because they are inferior to them. We are not talking about a regular fucking war. We are talking about a genocidal regime that has upwards of 400 nuclear fucking weapons, dude. Upwards of 400 nuclear weapons. It's insane. It's insane. Oh, there's still a fucking ad going. Oh my goodness. Like I've said, there's stupid and then there's MAGA stupid. Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The people who still support Donald Trump are anti-American. You have to choose now. Do you support Donald Trump or do you support America? Because if you support another long, never-ending fucking war in the Middle East to fight against insurgents, then you do not support America. You do not support our troops. You do not support the economy. You only support bootlicking your cult leader. Because that's all you fucking know. You're incapable of making your own conclusions. You guys are incapable of coming to your own thoughts. It's absolutely fucking pathetic. Thank you for all the donations, guys. Thank you for all the donations. Sweet fucking Jesus. Like, are you guys going to be cheering for Trump while the bombs fall on your fucking heads? Are you literally going to be cheering for it when the end comes to you? The same, you fucking stupid pieces of shit support the big beautiful bill, which takes money from the bottom 10% and gives it to the top 1%. You stupid motherfuckers support giving billionaires a tax cut. You fucking idiots, and you think that you are American? You're the most anti-American fucking breed, backwash scum of our society who's ever fucking existed.
President Trump announcing earlier this evening that B-2 stealth bombers flew over Iran and dropped ordnances at 3 separate nuclear sites. The president calling it a tremendous success. He said that they dropped bombs on the primary site, Fordo, all planes safely on their way home. President Trump now calling for peace. We've been watching throughout the evening. So far, the skies above Israel have remained quiet. We've been anticipating some potential retaliatory strikes from Iran. So far, you can see those skies right there. This is a live picture over Tel Aviv. That has not happened. We're going to go to Rachel Scott at the White House because, Rachel, we know that President Trump came back to the White House earlier this evening for that meeting with his national security advisors. He had put this 2-week deadline on making a decision, but instead carried this out tonight.
Yeah, the president initially said that he was going to give Iran 2 weeks. He was going to wait 2 weeks to decide whether or not he was going to move forward with these strikes.
Every single one of you fucking idiots saying, let's go, Trump, you should all volunteer. Every single one of you should volunteer to go fight. Why the fuck are you not fighting? If you're so humble, if you're so loyal to your fucking perfect God King, go fight for him.
We're going to move forward with. And then we saw the president come back from the G7 summit very early. The president meeting then with his national security advisors in the Situation Room day after day. We were told by sources at that time that he was warming up to this idea of the possibility that the U.S. would now be involved. And this is something that the president has, in fact, decided to move forward with, as he announced tonight on social media, on Truth Social. Now, a senior administration official that I just spoke to told me that The White House, the Trump administration, did give Israel a heads up. I am also told that the president did speak directly with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yo, MAGA, you can
after these strikes.
no longer call him a peaceful dove or an anti-war president. You can no longer call yourselves anti-war. If you still support Donald Trump, it means you are a warmonger. Say it with your chest and say, I love war. If you support Donald Trump, you support war.
Within the Republican Party, because this is the most consequential thing that the president has
done. You guys
done
keep saying
yet.
Iran just announced, and you're not giving me a fucking
even
source,
in his
bro.
inaugural address on
Thank you for the
being
$20,
a
Nicole. I'm secretly in love with you. Love your lives. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you very much, Nicole.
Not having the U.S. be involved in foreign conflicts. Now the president announcing tonight that the U.S. has moved forward with this direct involvement, and we are waiting for him to address the nation in just under 30 minutes.
Rachel Scott for us, thank you. And more on that division.
Does this guy have a brain? Matthew,
Bryan
if you're going to want
Capitol.
my comeback, you're going to have to scrape it off the back of your mother's teeth.
Ahead of this attack, we know that there are some very different opinions, even within the Republican Party, on whether or not this strike should have even been carried out.
Yeah, and we just heard from Rachel there. So Rachel and I have both heard from multiple congressional Republicans who say they were briefed. John Thune, top Republican in the Senate, saying he was briefed ahead of this military action. A source close to Speaker Mike Johnson saying the same. We've also learned that Rick Crawford, the top Republican on the Intelligence Committee, saying that he was in touch with the White House ahead of this action. But we're hearing from Democrats at this hour who say they were not briefed until this operation was already underway. Now, there's something called the Gang of Eight. That is the leaders of both parties in the House and the Senate, and then the top Republicans and top Democrats on the intelligence committees in both the House and the Senate. Typically, with an action like this, the Gang of Eight is all briefed at once, either together or separately in some kind of succession rapidly. But what we're hearing from Democrats in the Gang of Eight, the top Democrats on the Senate and House Intelligence Committees, Hakeem Jeffries, the top Democrat in the House, and we haven't heard yet from Chuck Schumer,
says
the top
next
Democrat in the
$10 dono
Senate,
gets to
is
decide
that
what
they
emoji Uvy's going to make for us.
After
Don't forget,
their
guys, Uvy is
Republican
our guy
colleagues
in the
say
chair.
They were briefed on this. So still very much unclear in the timing of all of this, but certainly something that we continue to look into as these Republicans say they got this heads up and Democrats saying they didn't.
Jay O'Brien for us, thank you. I want to get back to Ian Panel in Tel Aviv. Ian, we were looking at the live pictures earlier. So far, the skies above Tel Aviv have been quiet, but no doubt many people there anticipating retaliation in the days to come.
Yeah, I think that has been a major concern for Israel ever since it launched this campaign. The Home Front Command, which basically issues guidelines for how people should conduct themselves, has just upped its state of readiness, its alert level to the fullest, telling
got a $10
people
donation for the Constitution.
should not go very far from bomb
Yeah, keep your fucking hands off my Constitution.
Multiple across the country. People should not go to school. People should restrict their activities until they get further instruction. So I think it's fair to say that everyone here is certainly braced for some kind of adverse reaction from Iran. But as you've been pointing out yourself, Whit, the skies have been relatively quiet. Now, there's been speculation earlier this week that perhaps Iran was running low on its missile store. A military official talking to ABC News just on Friday said that they felt that they had essentially neutralized 50% of Iran's capability to fire missiles. That doesn't necessarily mean the missile stores themselves, but the ability to fire them at Israel. It now has drones over the sky. It controls the skies.
Oh, I got a Constitution? Finally, we get some Constitutions.
Attacks, around 1,000 have come from Iran. They've all been intercepted, according to Israeli officials, using attack helicopters.
You will thank me when I'm in heaven.
Dome.
Barbara, I'm going to pray to the old Norse gods that you get taken to Valhalla instead of heaven. Just to see what the fuck happens.
But we still think that something in the region of 10 to 15% of Iranian missiles are getting through. There's some indication that some of those missiles have new technology or technology that hasn't been used, whereby they split upon impact. So in other words, creating multiple warheads. But yes, I think everyone will be expecting some kind of response. But Iran has been on the back foot.
Yes, ignore them, Barbara. Giuseppe, I'm going to pray
lightning strike
to
by Israel
Loki
that
you get
initiated
pulled down
this
into
conflict.
Niflheim instead of
now
heaven.
the United States has joined in this war. We have to wait and see what the reaction is. We were reporting just a few hours ago that U.S. military have been helping evacuate U.S. diplomats and their families from Israel over the last 24, 48 hours or so. We know that diplomatic missions, even before this started, had already reduced their
most sane evangelical. Barbara just said, Israel is the land of our Lord, superior people. Hey, listen, Grandma, do you dead ass think the rapture is coming? Do you think the rapture is coming, Grandma?
Proxies or directly from Iran, as we saw when the U.S. killed the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps,
I can't
General
help you then,
Soleimani.
Grandma.
There was a direct response. It took a while, took a few days from the Iranians onto U.S. military facilities. I think it's unlikely that they take this quietly on the chin. We've got to wait and see.
Ian, panel for us, thank you. Let's go back to Steve Ganyard, a former State Department official, our ABC News contributor, because, Steve, we've been talking about the U.S. assets in the region, and we're just going through this list here. I mean, 2,500 troops in Iraq. We got 9,000 in Bahrain, 13,500 in Kuwait, 3,500, in Abu Dhabi. So and that doesn't even count, the assets, the vessels and the aircraft carriers on the water. You described this mobilization there as really unprecedented right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back and figure it out, but I think this is the biggest buildup of U.S. forces in the region since 2003. So 22 some odd years, we haven't seen this much U.S. combat power within the region. So clearly the president wanted to send a signal to intimidate the Iranians. They weren't having any of it. But he's also now got the force in place that if the Iranians come back at the United States, that the U.S. will be able to continue any kind of military action that they deem appropriate. I think one of the things will be interesting when we hear the president at 10 will be what else was used. There are some reports that Tomahawk cruise missiles were used, that they were launched by submarines. We'll have to wait for confirmation from the president on that, and that those were launched at Natanz and at Isfahan. So the only deeply buried targets that the Israelis couldn't do was really the centrifuge halls deeply buried under this mountain in Fordo. Natanz and Isfahan were two of the other places where much of the research was going on. And so if the U.S. used these cruise missiles, which, as you remember, they fly very low to the ground, they're not penetrators, so they can go take out things that are on top of the ground, but that would have been sort of the coup de grace to take out what the Israelis had at those two major facilities in Isfahan and Natanz.
Yes, this is World War III. Yes, the Brits, the French, Pakistan, Iraq, Iran, Israel, China, Russia, India, fucking Hezbollah, Yemen, the Houthis. Yeah, no, this is World War III.
Sort of like burrows into the ground, these 30,000-pound explosive devices. Could you talk more about how that would work in this sort of situation?
And Australia, yep.
And what it specifically needs to get to in the ground.
Yeah,
what should we do? Bully every single MAGA supporter. Insult them. Degrade them. When they go low, go lower. Fuck forgiveness. Fuck decorum. Shame them and make them understand that they are the reason this is happening.
Hardened penetrator that can go up to 200 feet below the ground can only be carried by the B-2. So the B-52 has carried it before, but the weapon system itself is only certified to fly on the B-2. So this is why the B-2s had to go in to use these bunker-busting bombs. So the whole idea is that of the 30,000 pounds, only 5,000 pounds are explosives. Most of it is a very hardened case because it has to punch through rock.
If you want things to change, you need to start sowing unrest. You need to start sowing unrest in this nation. People need to understand that there are fucking consequences for unconstitutional, illegal actions that violate Congress's power to declare war. That is what we have to start fucking doing.
Collapse these halls and collapse dirt on top of these centrifuges that were enriching uranium to a weapons quality capability. So it's a bomb that was developed originally. Most of the impetus was for the North Korean threat, because remember that the North Koreans also have very deeply buried capabilities in their nuclear sites, and so the U.S. said, well, we think that if we need to use this, that North Korea may be the first place we need to use it. We don't want the Kim regime to be able to
less than 20 minutes till Trump speaks.
Nuclear weapons. But then they knew that Fordo was there as well. So really, the only two places in the world
where would you move? I don't
where this
run
weapon
from my
is
problems. I
where the
stay
US
and
or
I
any
fight
other
my
country
enemy.
would need to use a hardened penetrator would be in North Korea or Iran.
And Steve, another question, because I'm no expert and you're great at explaining all of this. Could these attacks trigger some kind of nuclear disaster there at these facilities?
No, because most of the enriched uranium, the yellow cake, those things that are radioactive have been moved to other places. So we actually heard the Iranians apparently said, oh, we'd moved all that out of there. There's a pretty good idea, because remember that the IAEA has been in there monitoring for years the nuclear weapons or the nuclear enterprise within Iran.
Guys,
so
I think I may be wrong. You know, I never considered the fact that the Fordo nuclear facility may have been promised to the Israelis 3,000 years ago in the Talmud. You know, in the Torah, it might say the Fordo nuclear facility southwest of Tehran is owned by the Israelis as promised by God. It might say that.
They've been using the centrifuges to enrich the uranium, where they've been able to do the research, to where they've been working on the missiles that would actually deliver a nuclear weapon. This has been key to the Israeli defense, to find those long-range missiles that could potentially carry a weapon. So all those things, you remember, Whit, when we've talked about this in a context with North Korea, you have to be able to have a weapon. You have to take that weapon and put it on a ballistic missile.
No shot,
You have to be
Nelson.
able to fly
Is that the
missile to its
Valentusi?
intended target. You have to be able to deploy
Is that the
weapon,
Valentusi?
and then it has to detonate when it gets to whatever that target is. So there are many pieces that go into having a nuclear weapons capability. The Israelis are doing their best to take out every single piece of that capability.
Well, Steve, we truly appreciate your explanations on all of this. And we're going to talk a little bit more here with nuclear expert James Acton, who is joining us now on the phone. James, don't know if you were able to hear my conversation right before, but just trying to get a better sense, James.
Guy in the chair, baby. Guy in the chair.
These 3 nuclear facilities that the Trump administration says were taken out. It was a successful series of strikes, they say. Talk to us more about what was there and what the United States and Israel were most worried about.
Well, good evening. The facilities that the United States attacked this evening were those that were designed to produce the highly enriched uranium for use in a nuclear weapon.
On these 3 sites did take place.
Something else, too. China and Russia. They're the other 2 big players in this.
I'm going to go
China
take a piss,
gets
guys.
Phenomenal amount
Be right
of oil
back.
from Iran. China has got a huge investment in Iran. Some could arguably say that some of the things that China has done by Iran is really part of its larger Belt and Road Initiative around the world. So this has all changed. China is going to be kind of looking, it's going to change the way China views the world, because all of a sudden, if there's for example, a new regime comes in and it's a pro-Western regime that eventually dominates, and I'm not saying it's going to be democracy or anything like that. I'm not going to, we love to say, oh, they'll come in, it'll be democracy and they'll be wonderful and they're going to copy the Constitution of the United States or something like that. I'm not going to believe that we're going to pull something like that off. But you could end up seeing a more pro-Western regime that comes into power in Iran. If that happens, and this is all very much supposition, if you will, then China geostrategically is going to have to kind of reevaluate where it sits with some of its aspirations in a variety of places around the world, not to mention the South China Sea, and what they're doing. And then Russia has just lost one of its core allies, one of its support beams, sending things like ballistic missiles and drones up to Russia in its war with Ukraine. And so they're going to have to reevaluate where they are. geostrategically, and they would be in a very difficult situation, albeit with one thing I should mention, that with this war, oil prices have spiked, which has actually increased the amount of revenue going into Russia from oil sales. So in the short run, they've actually kind of profited from this war in terms of oil revenue, even though they've been pretty much cut off from any other stuff or any other support coming from Iran because of all the airstrikes and stuff. They've actually, from a revenue standpoint, they were in desperate straits, and all of a sudden they have a lot more money that they can spend on war fighting in Ukraine.
This is what we heard from President Trump on social media right after it happened. This, in fact, was the announcement about the strike itself. We expect the president to speak on camera from the White House at the top of the hour in 14 minutes. He says, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan."
Is your God all-powerful? Yes or no?
Was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. We've now since learned that it was 6 B-2 bombers.
Absolutely.
3.
Why does he give blood cancer to newborns?
Bunker busters on Fordow. Trump says all planes are safely on their way home.
God works in mysterious ways,
says,
right?
Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this, he says. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter, he says. So, I gotta focus in on the second to last sentence there. It's in all caps. Now is the time for peace, Trump says. Does peace seem like the type of response Iran might have after something like this, Hal?
No.
I find that interesting, the all caps thing. I don't want to get into.
Also, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. This is real independent media. Reply to me, Chris. You are so... dude, there's so many messages, Barbara. What you say? You wouldn't understand. Copy that. Copy that. Fair enough.
And when he puts that in there, that's a message.
Let me just explain my belief system real quick. If your God is all-powerful and he's choosing to do this shit, then he's not worthy of praise. If he's not all-powerful, then he's also not worthy of praise.
Played games with that 60-day window where they could have negotiated something, and of course the Iranians they said nope, unless we're allowed to keep doing everything we want to do, then
6
we won't
bunker
agree to
busters
anything.
and 30
of course, now they
Tomahawk
paid that
missiles. Where did you
price
get that information?
for that position?
Where did you get that information?
And you have to remember, for the Iranian regime, over-the-top combative rhetoric and politics is kind of what keeps them in power. If they weren't able to say death to America and pledge to the destruction of Israel, they would have a very small vocabulary, because that's pretty much what they say all the time. So they kind of have to do that. That's part of their, if you will, their
Associated Press. We're going to wait on the Associated Press here. I got 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Hi, Luigi. You guys want a quick Luigi cleanser? Here, a quick Luigi cleanser. Luigi, hi, Mama. What's up? You got your corn? You love your corn. She's a big fan of the corn. Luigi's a big fan of corn. Real corn, not you fucking TikTok weirdos. And your corn. You sick fucking freaks. You gooning losers. Yo, so, real talk. Let me talk to MAGA real quick. MAGA, why do you support war? Can MAGA answer that? Why do you like war? Can you guys answer that, please? I need to know. I need to know the reason. Because it helps the youth, as they will be in heaven as they died for Israel. All right, ban grandma and her dentureless fucking dick-sucking lips. Fuck you, grandma. Are you dead ass? Get rid of that old bat. Are you fucking dead ass? Fuck you, you old bitch. Why don't you fucking fight? Why don't you pick up an AK and fight like a Ukrainian grandma, bitch? Are you dead ass? Where are my text sending? There we go. Oh, Jesus. Bibi released a new speech. Where do you... All right, let's see. Fucking where? Look at what Malenti said. What did Malenti say? I don't know what he said. Go to Zeteo News Instagram. Okay, hold on. Which one, Matt? What? What is this? What are you trying to show me, Malenti? What are you trying to show me? What is it? His fucking coverage?
Forgive my language.
I don't give a fuck about Mehdi Hassan's coverage. I don't give a fuck. What the fuck? I don't give a fuck. Oh no, it's just a convo about the fucking Dems. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is about to give a fucking speech about the fucking bombs in Iran. Dude, shut the fuck up, Malenti. Shut the fuck up. Not important. Not even somewhat important. Trump has clearly remembered his experience from the 2020 killing of... Oh, we got 5 new updates. Jesus Christ. Trump's decision to strike Iran will change history. Let me see if we could bring up Netanyahu on Twitter. Well, Chris, I said that. Oh, I'm sorry, Avi. See, I get to yell at my brother like that, but not Avi. I'm sorry, Avi, you fucking asshole. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. Abusive. You're my older brother. You could fucking take shit, bro. You used to throw... Malenti used to fucking throw Harry Potter books at me while I was showering. Malenti once stood outside of the door while I was shitting and said, "Would you like some tapioca?" Hundreds of times until I started crying. And that was the beginning of psychosis for me. That was the very beginning of psychosis, okay? Malenti he used to hold me down and hawk a loogie on my face and then suck it back up before it would get close. You shut your fucking mouth, Matt. You shut your fucking mouth. You do not get to do that type of shit. All right, here's Netanyahu's speech.
Your bold decision
all right.
to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the... Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do.
This motherfucker has been waiting for this moment since 1979, guys. Benjamin Netanyahu has been waiting for this moment for 40 fucking years.
History will record that President Trump acted to
starting?
deny the world's most dangerous...
I don't like that. Why isn't it focused? Focus on my face. I don't like this buzzing. I'm lowering it. I'm not muting this. I'm not fucking muting this. This is the President of the United States. You have to be hearing it. I lowered it. What the fuck is going on? I'm gonna mute it, I think. What is that? Is there anybody... I know that I'm the streamer, but is there anybody in the chat who's like military or something? What is that? What is that? What the fuck is that? That's the tone? Just to make sure it's actually delivering? Okay, thank you. Ugh, I don't like that. I do not like that. Did anyone else not like that? I didn't like that. Oh, I didn't like that.
Regime, the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you.
Yo, my boy is bricked up underneath that fucking podium.
God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
All right, I think the buzzing is done. The buzzing is done. All right, chat. 60 seconds till the speech. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Do we think Trump is going to declare war? I think he will. I'm going to start a new poll. I mean, we're already bombing them. So how about more strikes, less strikes? Well, how about this? I think Trump is going to declare victory, which is insane, right? But I think he's going to declare victory. That's going to be the poll. End poll. Start poll. There we go. Jesus, you all voted real quick. All right, it's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. Let me get up another feed just in case this one does die. All right. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I am your perfect and humble leader, Chris Valenti. I'm a douchebag from New York. I'm losing frames. Give them back immediately. I'm a douchebag from New York. I majored in history. I minored in political science. There's nothing more than there's nothing that I hate more than fascism. And I like to use my studies of history to kind of connect the dots and see how it leads to what is going on today so that I can accurately predict the future. I'm not a fucking genius. You do not need to be a genius in order to do this shit. I love you all. We're all going to be okay as long as we stick together. We are Legion. Never forget that. We're going to be all right. I love you all. I love you all. We're going to be fine. 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 All right, it's 10:01, Donnie. Oh, here it is. Here he comes. Thank you for the $5 donation. All right, folks. Listen, I believe Donald Trump is going to declare victory, and that is going to be the worst mistake he could possibly make. Like, do you guys remember when George W. Bush said, what the fuck did he say? Mission accomplished. If he does something, if he does a George W. Bush mission accomplished, here he comes. Bum, 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 bum.
Will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left.
He's threatening to nuke them.
Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far.
That's a nuclear threat.
And perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's it. I'm pretty sure he thinks he won. That seemed like he thinks it's over, right? Right? That seems like a man who thinks this just ended. That was fucking stupid as shit. Dude, why does he always leave us in a constant state of limbo? Like, this stupid motherfucker is just giving us nothing to work with. All right, new poll. New poll. Let's see. New poll, new poll, new poll. Did you like Trump's speech? No, he didn't mention what we dropped on them. Also, guys, that was a nuclear threat that he made, right? That was so clearly a threat of nuclear escalation. Oh my God, I wonder if Tel Aviv is going to get wrecked tonight. I wonder if they're going to bomb the shit out of Tel Aviv. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, dudes. Jesus fucking Christ. Should we watch it again?
And welcome to Hannity. We begin tonight with this Fox News alert. I just spoke to the President of the United States. I have some new information and breaking details to share about tonight's what is historic.
All right, we're going to make a video. Okay, guys? So we're going to need what Trump just said. We're going to need some of that, and we're going to need the Axios article. So we're going to need this. Guys, we can rewatch it. It was incredibly short.
Military carry.
All right, so we got that. Oh, we're going to get Netanyahu. Dude, this is going to be a great video. We're going to get Netanyahu's speech as well. We're going to get, dude, we're going to be one of the first ones. We're going to be one of the first people to get it all compiled into one. We got to be quick with it. We got to be quick with it. We got to be quick with it. Netanyahu. Yeah. We've got, okay, there we go. All right, so, and then, I know I'm going to Valenti-Vod it. So we got Trump's speech. We got Netanyahu's speech. We're going to need, the details from this. And then maybe Axios article or something. U.S. enters the war with Iran. Okay. There we go. All right. Give the computer a second to fucking cool down. I just had so many... oh yeah, no, I also, nah, fuck it. We're just gonna be serious with it. 9 new updates already. Jesus Christ. All right, so I'm gonna be up in the morning live, by the way, for that 8 a.m. meeting. I'll be up in the morning live for it, all right? All right, let's make a video. Let's make a video. Let's make a video. Lock in, chat. Lock in, lock in. Here we go. Here we go. Turn off the alerts. Yeah, you're right. One of my boys is calling me. Hold on. Yo, brother, I'm live right now. What's good? We're at war. But, dude, join the live. I got like 1,300 people watching. I'm about to cover it. I was just, yeah, we're at war. We're at war with Iran. Yeah, we are officially at war with Iran. Go to YouTube, Valenti Videos. What? No. Like, I'm in the middle of a live stream. Just hop onto Valenti Videos on YouTube if you want to watch, because I got to fucking make this video. All right, love you. All right. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let me start recording. The United States of America is officially at war with Iran. We have confirmation from the President of the United States. We have confirmation from the New York Times, Axios, everything. We're going to cover this, okay? We're going to cover this right now. Live updates. Trump warns of more attacks after bombing key Iran nuclear sites. The United States of America, under Donald Trump's orders, decided to send B-2 bombers with 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs, and we penetrated 3 different nuclear facilities in Iran. Specifically, the most important one is Fordow. I told you this would happen. If you're new here, hi, how are you? I'm Chris Valenti. I'm a douchebag from New York. I majored in history. I minored in political science. I fucking hate fascism, and I like to use my history degree to kind of predict what's going to happen in the future. But we have got a lot to cover, and we're going to watch Netanyahu's speech, and we're going to watch Donald Trump's speech, okay? We have a lot to cover. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace.
He's got a boner right now.
Tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength.
Dude, Benjamin Netanyahu has wanted this since 1979. He is bricked up underneath this fucking podium.
President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
Dude, I literally think he would fucking blow Donald right now. He would literally throat him down. All right, so let's watch the President of the United States address the nation regarding our latest involvement in joining a world war. Come on, fat boy. Come on, fat boy. Faster, fatty. There he is. Bum, 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 bum. Need the IAEA to tell us immediately what the radiation levels are in Iran. Because if we fucking bombed the ever-loving shit out of uranium enrichment centers, that means that the uranium vapors could be leaking out of these facilities into the air of Iran. That is not acceptable. That is Chernobyl-level shit. You can't just blow the... This is why the IAEA said this is illegal. You can't just blow up nuclear facilities. Bro, this is exactly what George W. Bush did when he said mission accomplished, bro. Just so you guys understand, this does not end here. The entire fucking Arab world just united. You thought the Arab Spring was bad? Welcome to the fucking Arab Summer.
Key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace.
The bully of the Middle East. Excuse me, Israel. That's not a fucking flex, brother. When did your relationship with Bibi Netanyahu start? Was it on Epstein Island or the Lolita Express, you fucking fat orange draft dodging?
Hopefully we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Kane, spectacular general, and all of the...
What a stupid fucking name, bro. What a stupid fucking name, Raisin Kane.
Brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days.
So are we talking a Moab or are we talking nukes? Because you just sent B-2 bombers, bro. Those are quite possibly, like, what, the second largest thing we could have fucking sent? Like, what are you going to do next? A Moab? Because other than a Moab, the next thing we got are tactical nukes. That's the next fucking thing we're talking about, King Doland.
Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon.
I will be live watching that.
And I want to just thank everybody and...
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you know when I go live tomorrow around 8 a.m. to watch that.
In particular, God, I want to just say we love you, God, and we...
Look at the way he fucking said that. He knows he's pandering. He knows it.
And I want to just thank everybody and, in particular, God...
Look at the way he folds in his fucking elbows. He's like, I'm just a whittle guy. I'm just a whittle guy. God. Real quick, again, to every single person who still supports Donald Trump. Bro, what about peaceful dove? Anti-war. No new wars. End the war on day one. What the fuck are we doing, guys?
I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus. And that's it. Just a whole bunch of fucking nothing. To be frank, like, he really gave us nothing other than, like, declaring victory. And he said, like, oh, it was a great success, but also, if you guys do anything else, we're going to beat the fuck out of you with even bigger bombs. Meanwhile, the Iranians already responded. The Iranians said that every single U.S. base in the Middle East is now a target. All our ships, targets. What the fuck did you think would happen? What the fuck did you think would happen? Oh. My goodness. My goodness. All right, listen, if you're watching this live, I'm going to keep going. But if you're watching this pre-recorded on YouTube, we got a lot more to figure out. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you want to support the channel financially, please do. This is Real Independent Media. I have no funding. And do me one last favor. Click that video right there. It's a banger. And I know bangers. Chris, what about the separation of church and state? What about it? What about it? All right, so we're going to need a thumbnail. We're going to need a thumbnail.
These nuclear sites.
That's the thumbie. That's the thumbie. Or maybe there's a better one. Let me just check on Google. But dudes, guys, what do we think? What do we think? What do we think about this whole thing? Is anybody in this chat in support of this war? Trump speech at 10. Is anybody in the chat in support of this war? No. Minus touches a video saying Iran moved their nuclear staff and nuclear stockpiles. Oh, Jesus. Nobody's in support of this war? Thank God. Thank God. I'm taking that photo. Oh, we got a yes. We got one bootlicking cuck in the chat. Why don't you enlist and go fight then, fuckface? Why not, huh? Ban Riyadh for being anti-Semitic. No, but you don't understand. World War III was declared on June 21st, 2025. And a lot of people thought that it wasn't going to happen. However, there were some voices online who were screaming, trying to ring the alarm bells for years. One particular voice, Chris Valenti, better known as Valenti Videos Online, had built up an audience of history lovers who then decided that even though they thought he understood history, that he didn't have an understanding of modern politics. Get the fuck out of my face. What is Trump to do? Tell Benjamin Netanyahu to go fuck himself and good luck with all of the enemies he made. Fully stop funding Israel. That's what he could have fucking done. Is this even a good enough photo? I don't even think it is. Dude, there's like not even going to be anything yet. There's not even going to be anything yet. Take a screenshot of the video. That's a good idea. Let me let the bar go away here. Is the bar going to go away unless I unpause it or no? How do you take a screenshot? Anybody know how to take a screenshot? I'm emailing it to you. Just hide your screen. Malenti, if you ever yell at me again, I'll beat the shit out of you. Is that understood? I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling up the fucking picture. If you ever yell at me again, I'm beating the ever-loving fuck out of you, dude. I got no email from you, you fucking asshole. You're a lying piece of shit. You're an absolute liar. What happened to the camera? What happened to the camera? What happened to the fucking camera? Hello? 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 What does one do when this happens? What does one do? Fucking focus, you son of a bitch. What the fuck? It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Oh, shit. Hello? Okay. Fuck all of you. Fuck all of you. Fuck all of you. Except for you, John. Hi, Beans. Oh my God. That was annoying, right? Download picture. I'm downloading it right now, you son of a bitch piece of shit. Okay. What did I miss? Oh, Donald Trump declared war on Iran. He also bombed 3 nuclear facilities and threatened to hit them harder if they respond in any manner. Should I just do the full thing? Even with the red live thing? I feel like the red live thing is terrible. Nah, we'll just do the whole thing. We'll just do the whole thing. Thank you for the $20. Can I bill the administration for my anxiety meds? You can, but they will not pay for it, and they will use that as a way to put you on the autism list so that RFK can send you to a wellness camp where you will be forced to pick crops for billionaires. I wish I was kidding. Oh, no. Crazy times we're living in, folks. Crazy fucking times we're living in. What should it say? Oh my God. Yeah, I think that'll do it. How about I think because the title is going to be Trump declares war with Iran. The title is going to be Trump declares war with Iran. Oh my God, might be okay. Oh my God, or I told you so. I think I told you so, maybe. Oh shit. All right, fine. Oh my God. Is it war yet? Yeah. You like that placement? Good. There we go. Yeah, no, Malenti is losing it. That's because Malenti's a fucking idiot, bro. You don't want to fuck with a dumbass. He's a dumbass. Brains behind the operation. You ain't the fucking shit behind the operation, doofus. You ain't the dick behind the operation, you doof. You're the one who steals my frames. I know I'm losing frames. It's because I'm uploading a fucking YouTube video right now, dog. You understand? I am live streaming while uploading a YouTube video from a fucking laptop right now. Do you understand how insane that is? Alrighty. Israel is censoring you? Yeah, fuck Israel. All right. Episode 159. Emergency breaking. U.S. bombs Iran. We are officially at war. I hate to say I told you so. Copy. Please see if Iran responded. I will. Give me a second. I'm almost done. Got the thumbnail set. Valenti Vod. This is definitely not made for kids. No, there is no AI generated shit in my video. Yes, I want it monetized. Controversial issues discussing war, the loss of life, and tragedy that is non-exploitative or dismissive. Add an end screen. One video and my one subscribe and my recent upload. Probably hear Beans scraping his shit paws in the poop box over there. And publish. Hey guys, it only took 159 episodes of the Valenti VOD for Donald Trump to start World War III. It only took 159 episodes of the Valenti VOD. When Donald Trump was inaugurated, I said to myself, I will not stop shitting on this man and making content until he is fucking out of office and my nation turns into a socialist utopia. And I will not stop. And it only took 159 episodes for that fat orange draft dodging fucking idiot to start World War III. You gotta be fucking my asshole. Where are you guys getting this whole response from the Houthis? Because, like, they don't have official responses. Like, what are you talking about? Official response. I need to know where you're getting this from. Go check ABC. Okay. Or the Associated Press. CNN's update tracker as well. All right, we'll do CNN's update tracker. Hi, Bean. Hi, baby boy. Iran-backed Houthis say Trump must bear the consequences for strikes on Iran. Told you this is not going to end. This is only going to escalate. A prominent official from the Iran-supported Houthi rebels in Yemen said in social media post early Sunday that it would hold U.S. President Donald Trump responsible for the U.S. airstrikes in Iranian nuclear facilities. Trump must bear the consequences, Houthi political bureau member Hissam al-Assad posted on... Anybody here play COD 4? Are we kidding right now? Are we kidding right now? Are we fucking kidding right now? What's the context? In Call of Duty 4, the main bad guy or the sub bad, there's a bad guy, the main bad guy, and then like what's his name, Zakayev, and then the one bad guy underneath him is named Al-Assad. Trump posted again? What do you mean? Oh shit. Any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. So the only things bigger than the B-2 bunker busters, there's two things. One is a Moab, and then the next thing is a tactical nuke. That's it. Those are the only two things. Those are the only two things. That's it. I wonder what the responses are going to be. They're going to be pure bootlicking. Yep. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. These people are insane. If you're still a Democrat in 2025, you're a Oh my God. Dude, look at the queue. Look at the queue. Look at the queue. Look at the queue. Oh my God, bro. Oh, you deserve a Nobel Peace Prize. Oh my God. This is Bo Ludin. This is the guy who got the black guy on TikTok, KB Lame. This kid got him deported. This is one of Barron Trump's best friends. He grew up with Barron. He grew up with Donald. And he's like a conservative grifter. What does the Q mean? It's for QAnon, bro. The conspiracy theorists. Where can we sign up for a Valenti subscription? Somebody drop the link for him. I wonder if they'll strike back at Tel Aviv. Probably not. Thank you for the $5. Thank you for becoming a loyalist. Appreciate it. There is no best case scenario now. It's war. It's a long war now. Welcome to a new era of a long war. Got to accept reality. Who are Iran's allies? Russia and China. God, that thing is so cool, though. That thing is so fucking cool, bro. That thing is so cool, dude. If nuclear war broke out, would Canada be bombed? Yes. If nuclear war broke out, the entire planet would get bombed. Every single nation on planet Earth would launch their entire nuclear arsenal at every nuclear power. DOD talks about potentially Iranian sleeper cells attacking the U.S. I told you, false flag event. That's what's happening. I fucking told you. And what's going to happen is as soon as there's a Iranian sleeper cell attack, Donald Trump is going to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807 because we have been invaded by a foreign enemy. Welcome to Chris Valenti is always fucking right. Does it matter? Nope. Doesn't matter because now we're all fucked. Now we're all fucked. Malenti, if you're still here, we need to get that shit. We need to get that shit. Okay? We're getting that shit. And I want that shit this week. What, are you guys scared to meet Jesus Christ? No, but you should be, because you're going to find out he's fucking Palestinian and a socialist, and you're going to shit your pants. Do you think we go to war with Russia and China now? There were Russian scientists in these nuclear facilities. We don't know. We have to find out about casualties. If the Russian scientists that Vladimir Putin said yesterday, he said they're not leaving and you are not bombing them. If they fucking died, Russia's gonna respond. So I don't fucking know what to tell you.
We're going ahead and letting you set up and...
Excuse me. So, MAGA, what about no new wars? Hey, MAGA, what about no new wars? Didn't you guys say something about no new wars? Wasn't that something that you guys said? You guys said no new wars, right, MAGA? Isn't that what you said? You said no new wars, right? You think the pilots of the stealth bombers agree with the mission? They don't give a fuck. Brother, do you know how insanely well-skilled you have to, how highly skilled you have to be to become a B-2 bomber pilot? Those guys don't give a fuck about politics, and I'm glad they don't. I do not want my B-2 bomber pilots to give a fuck about politics. They just do what they're told to do. It's not their fucking fault. That's like blaming Paul Tibbets for bombing Hiroshima. That's the pilot. Tactical strike, not a war, moron. We're officially at war with Iran, you stupid fuck. Officially at war with Iran. You stupid fuck. What do you think this is? Mission accomplished, George W. Bush? You think it's all over now, you stupid fuck? Isn't this impeachable? He's already been impeached twice. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What do you think Congress will do now? Maybe they'll realize that they're moot and they have no power. This is absolutely an impeachable offense, yes. Doesn't matter, though. Doesn't matter.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision.
We already watched that. We already watched this. Oh, the national security implications. Here comes the whole Iranian sleeper cell bullshit.
We're continuing to follow breaking news out of the Middle East. Right now, President Trump announced the U.S. has attacked 3 nuclear sites in Iran. In a post on Truth Social, he called the attack successful and says the planes are now outside of Iranian airspace. Trump went on to write, quote, "Now is the time for peace." Mr. Trump says he will address the nation from the White House at 10 p.m. Eastern time, which is just about 30 minutes from now. Sources tell CBS News the U.S. reached out to Iran today and said these strikes are the only ones that the U.S. has planned. For more on this breaking news story, let's bring in CBS News national security contributor Samantha Vinograd on the phone with us. Samantha.
Good evening.
Tell us what the significance is
fuck
of an
was that
attack like
noise?
this by the U.S. in the Middle East.
Well, at this juncture, the primary concern for the president and his national security team are the safety and security of Americans in the region, around the world, and that includes here in the homeland. When I was at the Department of Homeland Security, we were deeply aware of Iran's capabilities to
Is this bitch in a
inspire
fucking alien
indirect
spacecraft,
attacks
dog?
against U.S. assets. That's through their vast network of proxies, including individuals here in the United States. So right
You guys
now,
hear
law
that, right?
enforcement and intelligence professionals are on heightened alert for any indication of reprisal attacks against Americans in the homeland or U.S. assets overseas. Of course, that includes military installations in the Middle East.
What the fuck is that noise? What the fuck is that fucking noise?
As well as American tourists and those living abroad as well. The significance of the attacks is, in the first instance, going to come down to whether the attacks were successful.
Brother. Sounds like a fucking alien, dog. Hi, Beans. Jesus. Oh. Hi, Bubba. All right. I'm going to hop off the live. I'll be live tomorrow around 8 o'clock to watch Pete Hegseth. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me immensely. Don't forget to donate money to the channel and do whatever you need to do. Become a member, become a patron, all that jazz, all that jazz. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love you all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're all going to be okay. Every little thing is going to be all right. Don't worry about a thing. 'Cause every